Hey everyone, and welcome to United Church Online. One of my favorite things that has come out of these last 16 months has been the Sunday Circle. You see, I've been going to church since before I could walk, my entire life. I've been hearing sermons on Sunday. And yet, in these last few months, I have been more impacted and changed by these Sunday Circle conversations than nearly 3 decades worth of sermons. And yeah, there have been sermons I've heard that have changed the course of my life, but there's something special about conversing with one another and processing what was revealed to us in real time. And it's in these spaces, the Sunday Circle and micro gatherings, where we will begin having more and more conversations about what the next normal holds in store for us. And we want you to be a part of this movement. We need you to be a part of this movement. We meet for the Sunday Circle every Sunday at 11 o'clock after this video premiere. And our next micro gathering will be August 15th, the location and time still to be determined. I'm really excited about the direction we are headed as a church community. We've been working towards this next normal for, believe it or not, over 2 years, longer than the pandemic. We've always wanted to strive towards becoming a new type of church, not simply for the sake of being different, but for the sake of true spiritual transformation. Always asking the question of how do we better love God and love our neighbor? We set out to be a church that makes a difference in the here and now, in your personal life and in the world around you. One that empowers you to be the difference in the world. And sure, we've failed and we've tried things that didn't work. We've slipped into old habits and have misstepped along the way. But in all of it, we are committed to our motto and mantra: you'll never walk alone.
Listen to how everything sings. The streams and stones, leaves and branches, fish and fur-covered ones, birds leading the chorus. See how your desire to praise is echoed in every living thing. How in quiet moments the heart is moved to gratitude for all of creation, for the lavish abundance of it all. How nothing is earned, no achievements are needed. May you simply show up with breath, blood, and bones, and your loving attention to hymns erupting everywhere, until you can no longer tell where yours begin and nature's ends. I rest in you, O God. I am in your safekeeping, body and soul held in peace. My heart cries out to you, my God. All that upsets me, you see. All that disturbs me, you understand. Only here in your presence am I fully known. I am wrapped in grace. I rest in you, O God. I am in your safekeeping, body and soul held in peace. I try to relax, but anger rattles me. I try to relax, but my feelings niggle at me. still. Be silent. Put your trust in the Lord. I rest in you, O God. I am in your safekeeping. Body and soul held in peace. In the stillness, the light of your face shines. My heart turns to thankfulness and is glad. I have more than enough. You, Lord, are more than enough. I lie down to sleep, safe and sound. I rest in you, O God. I am in your safekeeping. Body and soul held in peace. Be still and rest. You are held in peace.
Snack time. I loved snack time. I mean, who didn't, right? It was the best part of the day, the moment that broke up the monotony and offered you a sweet escape. I was always frustrated and anxiety-riddled, though, by Sunday snack time. The little tray of goodies would bounce around the room, passed from one person to the next, each taking their little cup of juice and special little treat. I watched as the contents of the trays slowly disappeared, emptying before my eyes and into everyone's hands. Would there be enough for me? Would I get any? I held my breath. The nervousness and anticipation overwhelmed my 9-year-old little body. My legs dangling off the edge of the pew would shake with uncontrollable energy. My eyes darting back and forth, I studied the tray. I devised complex mathematical equations in my head to determine just how much would be left when the tray passed my way. Subtracting the number of cups from the number of people, solving for x, carrying the 1. I even think I threw an exponent in there for luck. Yeah, 11 cups, 6 people. That should work. I finally exhaled. Snack time should not be this stressful for a 9-year-old, I thought. My heart rate finally slowed, my legs quieted, confident in my mathematical wizardry, there would be enough for me. My mouth watered and my eyes grew big as the tray finally arrived. I stretched out my hand to procure the little cup of juice, but the tray, as if caught in some unforeseen magnetic field, moved just out of reach. "Not today, Aaron," my dad would say. "Not today." And it slid right past me. It was snack time for everyone but me. I wasn't quite sure I didn't get to participate in snack time like everyone else, why the little cup of grape juice was forbidden fruit. So I began to plot. I began to scheme. I devised my plan, made my calculations, patiently waiting for my moment, for the smallest window of opportunity, the choicest of moments to strike like a snake and snatch the cup and swipe the chiclet. The moment when snack time would not be denied. And I'll never forget the moment that I actually succeeded. The moment of victory as the tray came my way. My dad's attention was diverted by an overzealous usher who handed in the offering plate just a bit too soon. It created a moment of confusion. This was my moment. This was my chance. Don't blow it, Mons. I quickly reached into the tray and swiped the chiclet, flipping it into my mouth while my left hand snatched the vial of juice for a quick swig. It was beauty in motion, all within a split second, all at the precise moment my dad wasn't looking. He didn't see a thing all of those days playing spy games and practicing those stupid little magic tricks that I could never quite master. Oh, sweet victory. Sweet, sweet victory. I got to be a part of snack time. But you know something? It didn't taste very good. That chiclet, man, it was stale, almost chalk-like, and the vial of juice, it didn't really wash the chalk out of my mouth. In fact, it wasn't very sweet. They used to water down the juice to make it last longer. Nasty, watery grape juice in a stick of chalk. Worst snack time ever. Why did everyone do this on purpose? I mean, it wasn't very fulfilling. It left me pretty disappointed. Stale. Snack time wasn't supposed to be like that. For some of us, though, this is our story of communion. It's become stale, disappointing, unfulfilling. And I get that. It's been hard to do communion together every week these past 17 months through a screen. It's become a ritual we do every week. It's become void of meaning, disappointing at best, and empty at worst. But on the night that Jesus was betrayed, he was having dinner with his closest friends. But it wasn't just any dinner. You see, this was a dinner of significance, full of meaning, a dinner that had been occurring every year at the same time for centuries. Generation after generation of Jewish men, women, and children gathered together for this meal and to hear the story of their liberation, the Passover. It was a meal of remembrance, remembering that God was with them while enslaved in Egypt, remembering that God had delivered them from the hands of Pharaoh, remembering that God had freed them from oppression, from slavery, remembering that God had liberated them, set them free, and given them a new life, a new hope, a new future. And I think this thing called liberation can be a hard thing for most of us to truly grasp, to feel the full weight, to truly understand. It's hard for those of us who have never experienced oppression to fully comprehend, who have lived a life of privilege or position or power, no matter how small. But all of this hope for a better tomorrow, all of this liberation from oppression, this freedom from slavery, all of it was wrapped up in this Passover celebration. That's a lot of meaning packed into a chiclet and a thimble of grape juice. But I'm getting ahead of myself. As Jesus was having dinner with his closest friends, this was the dinner they were celebrating. You know, I'm not sure that I truly understood the fullness of this until I celebrated a Passover meal with Andy and Nicole a couple of years ago. We gathered together in their community room. The meal set out on a table. We walked through the story, the promises of God, as Andy said the prayers of the people and led us through the experience. It was beautiful. It was meaningful. It was so full of hope and promise and Manischewitz. And through it all, you could see the work of God carrying the people through, setting the prisoner free, liberating the oppressed, and not only in a spiritual sense, but in a physical sense. This was a literal breaking of the chains moment. And as Jesus was having dinner with his closest friends, this was the dinner they were celebrating. This was the meaning wrapped around what Jesus was creating for them and for us to participate in. You see, we cannot strip the meaning of the Passover away from this moment of communion. In the middle of this dinner, Jesus grabbed the unleavened bread and tore it. He ripped it in two. He broke it, and he gave thanks of the broken bread and said, "Take and eat, for this is my body given for you." For a long time, I've been taken by this moment of breaking and giving. Because of course it resembles what Jesus did physically on the cross, an innocent man executed in the street by those in power, his body decimated by unspeakable torture. But I think there's a deeper story at work, a bigger metaphor in reality. Stick with me for a second. This loaf of bread is one loaf of bread, not 2 or 3 or 4. It's just one loaf. And when I tear this loaf in two, it's not 2 loaves. It's still one loaf, just in 2 pieces. And when I tear off pieces of this loaf, when I break down this loaf, it doesn't become multiple loaves, it's still one. And if I were to give you a piece of this broken loaf, nothing changes. It's still one loaf. But here's the beauty. In this moment, you are being invited into this loaf, into this body. You see, Jesus said of this loaf, "This is my body." And every time you eat of this loaf, you are becoming a part of his body, his church. I think this is part of what has made this pandemic so difficult for us as a community, why we felt so disconnected from one another. Sure, there's been the physical distancing, the inability to actually see one another, except through a screen. But I think there's an important spiritual component to it as well. We haven't had this weekly reminder of what we're a part of. We haven't been able to participate in this powerful story. You see, the bread is a weekly metaphor displaying our moment of unity. And the bread is indiscriminate. It cares not who partakes, but that all can partake. It's a Colossians 1:17 moment. And in him, all things hold together. Through the broken bread, through his broken body, Jesus is bringing us together as one. I imagine Jesus standing there between us, between you and me, between friends and strangers, enemies and allies, pulling us together with all of his might, with all of his strength, with his whole self, his whole being, ushering in peace through his body. A peace that hasn't been possible since the Garden of Eden. It's a peace, a togetherness, a unity that transcends ethnicity, race, nationality, gender, creed. It's a unity that erases and decimates fences and walls. It's a unity that brings humanity back together, healing divisions, healing wounds, healing separations. In the words of Paul to the Galatians, there is now no longer Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male or female, Mexican or American or Arab or Asian, black or white, gay or straight or bi or non-binary, non-conforming, liberal or conservative. And hear this. This isn't about erasing your identity, a color blindness or gender blindness. It's about erasing the walls that separate us from one another. It's about seeing each other through the eyes of love, for we are all one in Christ Jesus. This is the body of Christ, broken, beaten, shattered, so that we may come together, so that our world could come together as a new creation. You see, when we eat the bread, we drop our identities as other, and we come together as one. When we eat the bread, we show the world what true unity is all about. When we eat the bread, we show the world what true togetherness is, what peace and harmony is like, what forgiveness and love of enemies truly means. When we eat the bread, the church shows the way of how things were meant to be. This is my body given so that you may have peace. At the end of dinner, Jesus grabbed the wine and said, "Take and drink, for this is the new covenant in my blood poured out for you." Poured. I think immediately to the image of the cross again, where Jesus' side was pierced and blood and water flowed. This is the cup, the blood of Christ poured liberally, every last drop, so that we may be healed. Once again, we turn to Colossians 1, where it is written, "For God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him, and through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross." You see, it's through Christ's blood that our relationship to God is restored. It is through this cup that we are invited into communion with God. The bread is about unity. It's about the unity of humanity. And the wine is about our unity with God. This is the new creation that Jesus ushers in, and we cannot have one without the other. This is why Jesus said the greatest commands are to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. You cannot have unity with God without peace with your fellow man. You cannot have true peace with one another without peace with God. They are inseparable. They are interconnected. In light of all of the events unfolding in our world, we will never know peace unless the church comes together around the table. We will never know hope unless the church centers itself around Jesus and his hope for us. A hope of unity, a hope of love, a hope of promise and liberation, a hope that can change the world. You see, this is about a new way of being, a new way of seeing. And for us as a community, the table is going to play a larger role in our next normal. The Eucharist, communion, the Lord's Supper is going to be the center of our gathering, the place where we see and taste new life together. Henry Nouwen, when speaking about the centrality, the importance and meaning of communion, said, "The table is one of the most intimate places in our lives. It is there that we give ourselves to one another. When we say, 'Take some more. Let me serve you another plate. Let me pour you another glass.' Don't be shy. Enjoy it." We say a lot more than our words express. We invite our friends to become part of our lives. We want them to be nurtured by the same food and drink that nurtures us. We desire communion. That is why a refusal to eat and drink what a host offers is so offensive. It feels like a rejection of an invitation to intimacy. Communion is an ever-present reminder that God's love does not fail, that it never goes away, it never fades, it never runs out or evaporates, because you are loved. Communion is an ever-present reminder that you are loved. You are loved deeply. You are loved through and through by a God who gave it all for you. This is why communion is our way forward. Communion shows us the path that we are supposed to walk as we love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love our neighbor, our enemy, the stranger, as ourselves. May it be so. Grace and peace.
Come close, love. There's something that I want to take a look at together. Are you in a place where you can hear me? Because I want you to really soak in what I have to say. I come offering transformation. I come full of love. And I so deeply want you to experience for yourself what is so often only talked about or imagined. My full presence to all things, my part in your being and your part in my being. I want to clean you up, cut off what no longer serves you, and show you how deeply and truly everything is enjoined to me. What's yours to do is going to sound simplistic, but it's hard. Trust me, I know. People tend to get in their own way when it comes to connection. So what I am asking you is to open, to show me where it hurts. Because right there is where I come in. I am meeting you sore to sore, wound to wound, to nourish you by the intimacy of my own blood and guide you into the mystery and miracle of my deep healing way. I want to bring you closer into me. I want you to experience me and my love firsthand, source to soul. I want you to know that you are soaked in me. You are within my love everywhere, always, and my love is never exhausted. So share the spirit of it freely. Give without worry or desperation. Let love move among you, soul to soul. My heart is set on you. I am here, active and present. I am yours and you are mine. I will never leave you. So trust, remain, rest assured. Be still and know. You are within my love, everywhere, always, source to soul, and my love is never exhausted.
Every Sunday following this video premiere, we host a Sunday Circle at 11 o'clock. This is an opportunity to process and reflect on the morning, to ask questions, bring insight, and get to know people who call United their home. And today, we will be taking communion together. Although we aren't physically together today, we wanted to take a moment to pause with one another and celebrate the Eucharist face to face. You can find the link to the Zoom meeting in the description. Every week, For over 3 years now, we've closed with the same benediction. We do this in an effort to remind ourselves of who we are striving to be as a community and work towards making that a reality. May you be blessed today by these words. May God bless you with discomfort, at easy answers, hard hearts, half-truths, and superficial relationships, so that you may seek truth boldly and live from deep within your heart where God's Spirit dwells. May God bless you with anger, at injustice, suppression, and exploitation of people, so that we may work for justice, freedom, and peace. May God bless you with tears, to shed for those who suffer from pain, rejection, starvation, and war, so that we may reach out our hand in comfort and turn their pain into joy. May God bless you with foolishness, to believe that through Jesus Christ we'll have the strength and power necessary to create change in this world and in our neighborhoods, so that together we will courageously try what others claim cannot be done. May God bless you with remembrance, that we are called to continue God's redemptive work of love and healing in God's place, in and through God's name, in God's Spirit, continually creating and breathing new life and grace into everything and everyone we touch. Let it be so. Be in peace, and God bless.